Hey everybody, what's up? It's your favorite girl, LA. I'm so glad to be with you all on this beautiful Monday here in the Chicagoland area. I kind of want to use this as a microphone today, but let me just check some things out, make sure we're technically all the way together. And I got you all on my, let's see, it should show me live. We got good mic. We got good camera. We're time. We got everything we need. Like the video. All right, everybody. So, what I want to get into today, and I don't want to have any like naysayers. I don't want anybody to, if you disagree, absolutely come up, have a discussion. Let me put the link in the chat. So, if you guys have an issue with anything that I'm saying, I would love for you to come up and let me know what you think. But I really got to get into this because, baby, it just doesn't work. Marriage does not work for women. I posted it in the chat and it's pinned. It is pinned in the comment section. So if you're interested in coming up and having a conversation about why marriage doesn't work, or if you have an opposing view, you are more than welcome to hop on in here and let me know how you feel. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is LA. I am a mom in the Chicagoland area, divorced and rebuilding her life and doing it pretty well. And I love having discussions about family, marriage, dating, relationships, whatever it is. So in today's topic, as you can see, we're talking about why marriage does not work. And I believe that wholeheartedly. If you disagree with me, again, the link to join and debate me or dispute or present your argument of the facts is in the comment section. I'm so excited. You all can hang out with me if you want. But let's get into it. The reason that I'm doing this topic today is because of, let's get into Christy. And I know everybody knows who Christy is. So give me 1 second to pull that up and we'll talk about how Christy Scott and Desmond Scott have started their divorce process. It appears that Christy was the first, I believe, to announce the divorce that she had filed. Desmond came on a day later and talked about his infidelity. Desmond came on and talked about his infidelity. And imagine being married to a beautiful woman like Christy Scott. She has everything that a man probably would want. She seems fun and funny. She's making a ton of money. She's had 2 sons for you. She was able to allow you all to build a dream home. You've been together since high school. I think they were 14, 15 years old. So that would be like high school, middle school sweethearts. And instead of having enough respect for your spouse and your woman and your wife to say, I don't think this is working for me anymore, you go and you decide that I would rather cheat than to give my spouse the respect that she deserves and saying, I don't want to be here anymore. Thank you. They sell a little cute little stand, but I always see people put it on weird things. So I'm assuming it's, well, I guess it grabbed your attention. I could put it on my unbrush. Yeah, I see people putting it on the weirdest things, and I'm like, oh, that must be an attention grabber. So I did it on my Twitter. But so I would assume that Desmond had cheated. And somebody said they can picture about 6 months ago when Desmond and Christy's content got a little more where she didn't poke at him or kind of annoy him with her outfits, but she started kind of antagonizing him. And that kind of lines up with what her divorce filing says is that they tried reconciliation for a few months. And I believe that she knew prior to, I mean, of course, she knew prior to the divorce, but I don't think she found out and filed. I think she found out and they tried to work it out. Some other reports are that, some other reports are that, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up. Unfortunately, it has some music in the background. But let's go to TikTok and see what they got going on because this is such an interesting story and it further proves my point that marriage doesn't work for women. It just doesn't. There is no amount of money. There's no amount of money that can give you a fair exchange for what you give in a marriage. Not one bit. Unfortunately, not one bit. So people will say, "Oh, so people will say, "Oh, but her husband is rich." Doesn't matter. Oh, but she walked away with the boat. Doesn't matter. Unless you know what? Let me tell you something. The funny thing is because people will bring up like, a Bezos ex-wife. I forget her name is Melanie Bezos. She walked away with fortunes, right? Money that most of us will never see in our lifetime. But she walked away from that and a husband who was on the flight manifest for that island. Like what is the exchange? You give your life to this person and they're on an island with minors. So this is why I tell people don't talk to me about money because these women who walk away with money have the biggest secrets. They have the biggest demons. The doors on their closet is busting at the hinge. There isn't a fair exchange for what women are giving in a marriage. It just does not work out that way at all. So my point is with the Christy Scott thing, Christy Sarah and Desmond Scott, is that she seemingly was the perfect partner. Like, this is what people write fantasy novels about. I met my high school sweetheart. We ran off into the sunset. We got married. We had two beautiful boys. She's gorgeous. She dresses nice. She keeps a beautiful home. What more do you want? And then on top of that, you don't have the decency to tell this woman that you've spent, let's say, 20 years with, babe, I can't do this anymore. So I understand as people may say, oh, they've been together for so long, they didn't get to grow up. Huh? This woman was signing, I mean, she also was 14, 15 when they met. I'll keep biting my lip. She also was 14, 15 when they met. This is a woman who was able to sign contracts. He was young. He was able to sign contracts at this age. You're able to sign contracts. You're able to make money. You're able to make financial decisions. You're able to buy a house and build it from the ground up. But yet, the one thing that this man can't do is he couldn't possibly be old enough and have enough personal growth to be decent to his wife. Imagine what you're saying to me, especially, I think I was watching Blue Centric. It's like, imagine you're saying this man can build a platform, make money, but yet he wasn't adult enough. That's just an excuse to say this man wasn't adult enough to respect his wife. How? How is that possible? How is that the excuse that you give this person? It's impossible for that to be true. So I was watching somebody that just kept giving him excuse after excuse after excuse, and it really frustrated me because I'm going to just send this to myself so I can bring it up in this video and we could talk about it. I'm just tired of people making excuses for marriage and giving women this fragment of hope about why women are single, why they can't quote unquote keep a man. Getting a man and keeping a man is the easiest thing that you could do if you have a lobotomy. If you have a lobotomy, no self-esteem, no self-respect, and no self-worth. Let me find this. Oh my God. Okay, let's go to my TikTok. I'll bring this up now. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's taking me forever to get myself together. I guess I should have planned for this. But let me go to my profile. My profile looks actually really, really good. I love it so much. Let's go to favorites. All right, let's add this to share screen. TikTok. Also share audio. We're getting somewhere, y'all. We're getting somewhere, and I'm going to add this to the stage. There we go. And if you're not following me on TikTok, please do so. My profile is everywhere, Live Well LA, on Instagram, on TikTok, on here, live_well_LA. I've been thinking of changing it, but I'm about to blow up soon, so we don't want to get the big brands confused. Okay. We don't get the big brands confused. Let me pull up this video first.
Christy and Desmond Scott.
Here's the cheapest way to get out of the...
Christy and Desmond Scott are shaking. Now, a lot of you are asking me to talk about this couple. I was introduced to them through Chrissy Sarah. I didn't even know that her husband was a chef. Her husband's fine. They had a beautiful aesthetic kitchen. I did not know this until 2 days ago. And I think that that's the problem. There's a lot to the story. Let's talk about it. So as of yesterday, he has officially released a statement. Said, I want to begin. Christy and Desmond Scott are shaking. Now, a lot of you are asking me to talk about this couple. I was first introduced to them through Chrissy Sarah. I didn't even know that her husband was a chef.
Sorry, I'm getting
her husband was fine. They had a beautiful aesthetic.
sound on here, and I'm
I did not know this until 2 days ago, and I think that that's the problem. There's a lot to the story. Let's talk about it. So as of yesterday,
so let me make
he's
it bigger,
officially
and then I'll
released
figure it
a
out
statement. Said, I want to begin by apologizing to Christy, our family, and everyone who has been impacted by the public attention surrounding. I know this news has been disappointing for many, and I'm truly sorry for the hurt it's caused.
It's just not.
Christy is the mother of my children.
Stop sharing. Share screen. Also share audio. Let's go to favorites. Let me pull y'all up on my phone so I can see what's going on. Unless you're able to hear it and I just don't know that. Unless you're able to hear it and I just don't know that. Okay.
Been impacted by the public attention surrounding this situation. I know this news has been disappointing for many, and I'm truly sorry for the hurt it's caused.
Oh my God, thank you.
Christy is the mother of my children, and that will always come first. I remain fully committed to being an active, present, and loving parent to our boys, and have always have been, as I always have been. Christy and I faced challenges and made sincere efforts to work through them. Towards the end of 2025, I wanted to separate, and I had conversations with Christy regarding this. During this period, I made choices that I am not proud of. I took responsibility for those actions. I shared this with her directly and personally, and ultimately we decided to divorce. I ask for privacy and compassion as we navigate this difficult chapter of our lives. Okay, I'm going to read the end, but I got to say something. So he already told her he was done. This has already been getting into motion. I feel bad for everybody involved. I started looking at the numbers, and this man was so... Okay. He is not the star. I went and looked at her page. We'll come back to this. She has 9.6 million followers. He has 1.8. So even though 1.8 followers is nothing to sneeze at, if I got 1 million, I would not be sneezing. I would be quite proud of my accomplishments. But 1 to 9, the pages are looking a lot different. The interest is looking a lot different. And I've had this conversation with my audience before, and it's a sexist theory that I believe in. A man cannot truly behave properly and be a good man when the woman makes more than him, when she's bigger than him and makes more than him. Okay? The reason why we see a good balance, even though these people have been together since they were little, him not getting as much light at being a chef, to where I'm surprised that he's not bigger. Look at this. This is a shallot tart that he made. Absolutely exquisite type of culinary skills. I'm like, oh, he's... he's a chef, like the executive title. Why is he not up there with one of those budding culinary artists? And we're like, no, we know her, but in the culinary world, we know him. He's James Beard Award. Like, why does he get more? Does his kicking give you nothing? These are this is like spiced pudding. And I'm like, oh, that kind of stuff, like that takes an actual education in this. Her page obviously is more in fashion and her quirky behavior, but even down to the kitchen. I'm surprised he's not on his Tabitha Brown himself, to where we just know him. Like, we know Desmond Scott. The real foodies know him. And that makes me sad. And that would be a reason why a man would feel small. Not saying that that's her fault. I'm just being realistic. She is the bigger star. He probably got into a romantic relationship with somebody that was like, babe, there's no better cook and there's no better king than you. See, I have a theory that a man who makes less than a woman is like, so a woman that has more than a man, right? He is going to cheat on her for a woman with nothing to feel something. I never can get that quote right, but do you guys get what I'm saying? He's gonna go mess with the waitress, the help, the dancer he met at the real.
This is so very true for me too, because when she said that, I was instantly reminded of Janae and that sleazy racist boy from Love Island she was dating. He had the like moon dog face, but Janae from Love Island, bigger star, more brand deals, more notoriety, more recognition, more followers. Lo and behold, he hated her. And then if you think about a Wendy Williams, bigger star, more notoriety, more fame, more accolades. Kevin Hunter was nothing. The only reason Kevin Hunter was producer was not because he had skill as a producer. Kevin Hunter had Wendy Williams to say, give my husband a job on this network, production company, whatever it is that he worked for. I think he worked for the production company. Give my husband a job. He has no experience other than knowing me. Right? If you think about the Cardi B and Offset. Name me a marriage that works. Nicki Minaj and her husband. The streets are saying this boy is just using her for her credit cards and using credit cards all through the neighborhoods of New York, letting, random his friends buy things and charge up her credit cards. There is not one situation in which a man can sit back, because it'll happen for a while. Yes, take care of him. But eventually for men, that ego kicks in when the woman is so successful. And I also know that when you go home and you're Christy Scott and your husband is in the living room and you're in the office and there's maybe 15 people from whatever brand. Let's say you're running with like for the Oscars or the Golden Globes that just ended. You might got 15 people coming here tending to you. You got a photographer. You got a glam squad that may consist of 3 or 4 people. You got wardrobe and a stylist. And then you got the accessories people, and the jewelry company has sent over 2 representatives. Imagine that. And your husband is sitting there on the couch with nobody paying attention to him. This creates such vitriol and hatred for the woman that they can't handle it. These relationships don't work. And these relationships aren't just this because of money and notoriety. But if you look at it on a smaller scale, women who work in regular corporate America, the draw in relationships, the draw in couples is always the woman. The draw in couples is always the woman. Unless you're around a bunch of male identifying women, like then that's different. But the draw in couples is always the woman. People want to come to the woman's holiday party. They don't want to come to the man's house. What is he going to do? What is he going to present? Exactly. Women want to come, and couples want to come visit because your wife is going to put on a nice dinner party. That's simple as that. And what happens even in normal everyday relationships, people that work just 9 to 5s, not these high earning couples like I just described, what happens is men become jealous of that. They see how much attention the woman gets, even if it's from her hair to the way she dresses, her fragrance, how her nails are done. Every little bit of that chips away at them because the ego is so fragile. And what happens is, on top of the fact that you have somebody that doesn't have as much draw and appeal as you, which ruins their ego and self-worth and self-esteem, on top of that, you have a man that starts to dislike you, if not hate you. So you have a man that doesn't like you, that may hate you, and guess what? Yeah, you figured it out. He starts to see someone else, but he doesn't understand that this happens all the time. That's why I'm telling you now, marriage does not work for women. Even if he finds someone that he deems lesser than the wife that's overshadowing his entire existence, that woman too will make him feel inadequate, because men don't feel adequate next to women. Men do not feel adequate next to women. And that is the truth. Men have a false bravado that they will present to you, but it's not real. It is 100% not real. Give me 1 second, y'all, and I'll be right back. I'm going to let this play out.
Broke strip club, not even the nice one. To just feel that feeling of like, man, I feel like a man, and she thinks I'm a cool guy, and to puff his chest out and feel a little bit better because he feels 8 million smaller than you at all times. Their pages, beautiful kitchen, she's in Scaparelli. Okay, so it's hitting different. It's hitting different. And I wish that maybe his career could have rose to the occasion. He probably wouldn't have felt so intimidated, and they would still have a marriage. Christy and Desmond Scott are shaking. Now, a lot of you are asking me to talk about this couple. I was first introduced to them through Chrissy Sarah. I didn't even know that her husband was a chef. Her husband was fine. They had a beautiful aesthetic kitchen. I did not know this until 2 days ago. And I think that that's the problem. There's a lot to the story. Let's talk about it. So as of yesterday, he has officially released a statement. Said, I want to begin by apologizing to Christy, our family, and everyone who has been impacted by the public attention surrounding this situation. I know this news has been disappointing for many, and I'm truly sorry for the hurt it's caused. Christy is the mother of my children, and that will always come first. I remain fully committed to being an active present.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm sorry I had to take care of something really, really quick, but I'm back. What I wanted to say and finish saying was that men don't feel adequate next to women. And it eventually comes to a head. It comes to a head. And I'm not saying this is for all. There are some very well-heeled men who can absolutely, there are some healed men who absolutely can be great husbands. But that doesn't mean that it takes away from what the wife will experience. And like I said, it doesn't work. Marriage doesn't work because the exchange that even a good man can give you for your labor, emotional labor, physical labor, for your youth and your energy will never adequately be a payoff for what you've given in the marriage. It just doesn't work like that. So I'm glad we could talk about this and Christy Scott, because unfortunately, you're going to see more of this as women start to wake up all across TikTok. This is what you see as women wake up. You also have to remember that in order to be a wife, a live-in girlfriend, whatever it is, you're exposing yourself to sometimes violence, and it's just I don't see, I just never see an even exchange. And again, as someone who has been married, as someone who has had long-term relationships, I've lived with partners. I dated the, 6-foot, 6-figure provider and married him. But what I will tell you is it just does not work. No matter what, the exchange is never worth the investment for women. The risk is never worth the reward. And I wish that people would stop. Like, there aren't any, I'm going to be honest with you. Unfortunately, I'm going to be honest. There aren't any. I tell people all the time, if you think you're seeing a love story, give it more time. If you say to yourself, not my man, you're just not there yet, babe. You're on the train. Because people will say, oh, I have amazing this, I have amazing that. Your stop just hasn't come yet. Or you already know. I was in a Facebook group just last night. I was scrolling Facebook and one of the groups popped up was, okay, y'all, so this is the situation. And he hasn't answered the phone in 24 hours. And I'm like, she's like, what should I do? You knew before this incident, this 24-hour thing, that there's a problem. There are a lot of women who will never tell you. The women that won't tell you are usually the women that say, oh yeah, we had some up and downs, but marriage got. How many times do you think the downs were from the women? It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So I brought this message to you all so you can protect yourself. You can be smart. You can see when a man has it all, like a union with a Christy Scott, beautiful, smart, high earning, give you 2 sons, keep her body in shape, build a house from the ground up. They're still not satisfied. And that has nothing to do with the wife. Let's go back to
our family and everyone who has been impacted
the next
by the
video.
public attention.
No one realized that just 12 hours after Christy Scott filed for divorce, she immediately made 3 shocking decisions to make sure Desmond Scott wouldn't walk away with a single dollar. The influencer couple, who share over 6 million followers, are now facing the collapse of their marriage. Christy accused Desmond of repeated infidelity during their marriage and stated there was no chance of reconciliation before filing for divorce. To hold Desmond accountable, she immediately set 3 plans in motion. First, she plans to use legal means to take full ownership of their jointly run company. Throughout their 12-year marriage, Christy handled all company operations, while Desmond contributed nothing yet, still took half the profits. Even after the divorce, Christy is fully capable of running the business alone. Second, she is fighting for full custody of their 2 sons. Since their birth, Desmond often avoided family responsibilities and failed to act as a father. He doesn't even remember their birthdays. Christy has carried the entire burden at home, and the children are only close to her. As a result, Desmond is unlikely to gain custody and will be required to pay $30,000 a month in child support. Most importantly, Christy is determined to protect the $2 million she owned before marriage. Although they earned over $30 million together, Desmond lived extravagantly and has little left in his personal accounts. In contrast, Christy had already built significant wealth and is determined to keep it from being divided. No one realized that just 12 hours after Christy Scott filed for divorce, she immediately made 3 shocking decisions to make sure Desmond Scott wouldn't walk away with a single dollar. The influencer couple, who share over 6 million followers, are now facing the collapse of their marriage.
So Desmond Scott is speaking out in response to the news that broke yesterday that his wife, Christy, was filing for divorce for alleged infidelity. He took to his Instagram story to share a couple words. Let me go ahead and read you what he wrote. He says, I want to begin by apologizing to Christy, our family, and everyone who has been impacted by the public attention surrounding this situation. No, this news has been disappointing for many, and I'm truly sorry for the hurt it has caused Christy as the mother of my children. And that will always come first. I remain fully committed to being an active, present, and loving parent to our boys, as I have always been. Christy and I faced challenges and made sincere efforts to work through them. Towards the end of 2025, I wanted to separate, and I had conversations with Chris regarding this. During this period, I made choices that I'm not proud of, took responsibility for those actions. I shared this with her directly and personally, and ultimately, we decided to divorce. I ask for privacy and compassion as we navigate this difficult chapter of our lives. So Desmond Scott is speaking out in response to the news that broke yesterday that his wife, Christy, was filing for divorce for
All right. Thanks so much for hanging on, everybody. I think that's all I'm going to share about the Scotts. I think we know, like, people can argue with me if they want. They can argue in the comments if they want. And I'm sure there will be some men who, like my last video, came on and said, I don't know anything. I'm not smart, but I am. I am smart. And I'm smart enough to know when something doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So if you men want to hop in the comments and argue with me, that is fine. But I will bid you adieu for now. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on Monday night. I'll see you guys. Actually, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.